Grabill Town Council meeting for the May 21st, 2025. I call this meeting to order. The minutes of the previous meeting have been presented. Were there any questions from the council?
No questions. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second? Carried.
Roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Claude?
Aye.
Wilmer?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right. Gonna bounce this around just a little bit. Would the gentleman from Hicksville Bank like to make their presentation?
Yes.
Good. And then he looks at you.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll fill in.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Will you stand at the X and state your name?
do I have to?
No.
No,
You can FaceTime.
Yeah, you just gotta be seen.
Are they gonna take pictures? Do I have to have a sign?
Yeah, you get your
Get your
sign.
tie on, Kevin.
Sheesh. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for having us here tonight. We appreciate it. Yeah, Nick is our branch manager. Nick Fuller. Greg Smitley, president of Hicksville Bank, and I am a recently appointed commercial lender at the bank down there, here in Grabill. So, we are asking if you would consider moving some of your depository money over to the Hicksville Bank and giving us a chance to serve your needs. I understood, basically, some of the things that we're bringing to the table are community involvement. All these guys are involved in this community, have been, love this community of Grabill. We are actively sponsoring the things in the town. We're working diligently with the chamber. We have members on that board. We have the fair, the Little League teams, all that stuff. So involved in the community, we were new, obviously, but want to be involved in the town of Grabill. In talking to Stephanie, I don't know the details. I just know that there was some concern about rates of return on investments, and I did leave some information for you to take a look at. We do have some specials going on that I think could make you quite a bit of money and just increase the yield back for the taxpayers of the town. We did check. I know there was also maybe some concern about whether we were approved for state funding or for municipal funding, and we are. Greg looked into that. Would you like to address that at all?
Yeah, when you're done.
When I'm done, okay. So we are an approved depository for the municipal funds that Grabill has. So we've taken care of that. FDIC insurance, and of course, take care of everything up to $250,000. And then there are other provisions for municipalities beyond that. That's really what I have to say. We would appreciate your consideration in letting us serve your banking needs.
Yeah. And if I may join Kevin and Greg Smitley, president of the bank, I do have just a little bit of information I can leave with CLERK-TREASURER. I did confirm in speaking with the executive director of the board of Depositories that we've been on the approved list since we opened our branch in Auburn in 1999. Just want to confirm that with him. You can go online. I gave the address here at the top. You can actually pull down this list by printing it off for you to review if you so choose. And just a reminder, at Hicksville Bank, while we're relatively new to the community, we are not new to banking. We've been in business for over 120 years. So I didn't bring a lot of information, but I did think you might find that interesting and useful perhaps. So again, we know that you've got long-standing banking relationships. We'd just like you to at least think about the opportunity to talk to us to see if we can better some of your financial position, your banking position. Just as a case in point, in my briefcase here, I've got a proposal to drop off at another nearby municipality, and just in service charges alone, we propose to save them over $4,000 a year, just in service charges. Let alone the additional interest income that they might earn if we structure the accounts properly. So I think we could be a big benefit and use to the town. And again, we understand you have your processes and procedures. We just wanted to be here to encourage you to give us consideration and to confirm as much as anything that we are an approved depository for any town and city and actually for that matter municipal unit of government in Indiana. So any questions that you may have right now that we could address? I know I don't want to get in any weeds, of course, but anything that first jumps in your head?
What she was explaining and stuff, I think we need to look into this stuff,
Yeah.
you guys.
And again, we're happy to do as much or as little as you would like us to do, but certainly want to be a resource for banking opportunities, banking alternatives. So thanks for your time tonight. We appreciate it.
Who should Stephanie call and visit with?
Kevin and Nick would be our guys here. I'm happy to help, but they're nearby. They're 2 blocks
Yeah.
away, so
Yeah.
that'd be
Okay.
the great.
I've been Nick and I have been initiating the conversations with Stephanie, to get to this point, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be glad, we're your boots on the ground.
And established relationship with both of them, so that's,
Yeah, well, I think it's.
But we are talking real dollars.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Real dollars are real dollars.
And beyond that, though, the other thing is that, I don't know what your present relationship is like, but customer service is something that we absolutely take to heart.
Mm-hmm.
I lived here my whole life, you know that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see all you guys, out in the community. We're gonna take care of you. And I think that's a big thing you can lean on too, that you've got guys right here who will be responsive to your questions and needs as they come up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Be excused.
Okay.
Whichever.
Oh, sorry. Good seeing you too.
Have a good night.
Thanks. Okay. DLZ.
The agenda, run through this, waterworks, restoration of the stone drive and seating at the plant site. I think we're just about wrapped up with all of that, project. The trail, they're still working back there in the park.
How much will be due to finish up the waterworks and?
That was actually something that they were finalizing some numbers, and I think that it'll end up being under budget. So I think that was something that Dan and Casey were gonna kind of put together as far as what you guys might want to do with that additional funds.
Okay.
The rough ballpark was like 200,000 or something. So
Does that money, are they allowed to use that for equipment and stuff? That's kind of what's intended for, right?
I believe that's what they're.
I think that's what, just so you're aware of that, so you,
Okay.
So,
or other projects, like,
Okay.
yeah, so then the tower rehab is complete. As far as the trail goes, I think you guys have known that they're working back there in the park. Did we address that whole issue of them trying to keep their stuff together and be able to park
Yeah.
in those parks? So that's
On the trail back in the park, what kind of balloons are there gonna be or something to keep cars from driving that? What looks like a nice racetrack right now
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll have
when it's completed.
a set of bollards at as you go down that drive, and then you hang a right, and it goes behind the building. So we'll have one there, sort of keep them from wanting to keep going that way on the trail. And then we'll have one when it comes out into the trailer park, and right before the ball diamonds, there'll be a set of bollards there as well. We weren't really touching the existing sidewalk as it goes back there. I think those are really the only two areas that we worry about vehicles want to get on there. So so those will be blocked off. can't say that we put any throughout town that I can recall. I think it's just those two areas.
Yeah, looks like more of the park would be more fun to drive through than down the sidewalk.
Yeah, I think it'll be a nice smooth ride for bicyclists and pedestrians, hopefully only them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're moving right along on that. I think all that stone base and everything is in place. They just gotta get in there and pave it. And they're having, Fleming is subcontracting E&B to do all that work.
Yeah, on the next section where we're coming on Henry and North Street, Eddie brought to my attention that we're gonna move 3 fire hydrants.
I know there's that one there at the corner of Main and,
Right there where the red brick house, and that one has to be moved back, that one I see no issue with. But then Eddie said something about moving the next one down by the church and the next one down by the White House. I think if we adjust the path a little bit, we don't have to move those, because I think you already got them around the church, you got a stake to go behind it. And I believe it's going in front of it, in front of the White House on State Street, so I don't think we'll need to move those two. So,
Are you gonna have easement ground to move the hydrant on the corner of Henry and Main?
Yeah, I think there's a few feet behind the trail there that we have.
Okay, so that's gonna be really tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's all that I had on that, unless you guys have any other issues, concerns there. The ARCLA project, the conforming contract documents are still pending, notice to proceed after the easements are all signed and recorded. And then scheduling the pre-construction meeting.
Is that the confirmed date? May 9th?
We already had that meeting.
Yeah,
I
that's
had
what I was
that meeting,
thinking.
so you did already?
Yeah, we had that meeting on the May 9th.
I missed it.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Okay, that's completed.
I thought it wasn't updated.
Well, it would have been the last meeting. We just had it a week or so ago.
last Thursday.
May 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
No update on the Page Road sewer extension. Yeah, there's our pre-construction meeting there on the May 9th, okay. And then no update on the lift stations. The NIPSCO property, I don't think there's really any update there. Still working with them to get a time set for the conference call. 2024 streets, so that's west in Illinois. No, it looks like they got all the stone done for Illinois Street on this north section, and then they've been rained out quite a few days, so that's,
I did have a resident on Illinois call this past week. When we get to paving, their concerns are where they're supposed to park while all that's being done. Are they supposed to park along First Street while they're paving Illinois, or?
will they need access throughout the day?
Yes,
'Cause
Probably, yeah.
Vida will especially.
Mm,
They're going to the doctor.
going in, yeah.
Can they park in the alley?
There's no alley.
yeah, I don't think there's one over there.
Well, there is between.
On Illinois, behind Luke,
Yeah.
behind Krieger's house is an alley, where Steve Jones works back there.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the other one.
Yeah, I
Oh.
thought we were talking about the
The other
law.
one, the big one.
Yeah, I was, the call I had was a resident on the long section.
Oh, the long section.
Yeah.
And confusion.
I guess I would say probably park on First Street just because there's less traffic over that way.
Okay.
They should be able to get all that done in a day,
Yeah.
but yeah, if it's something where
Well, and
they
then
need
it's gonna
to
take,
come in and
what,
out.
24 hours for it to cure, or what does that look like?
No.
They'll drive. They'll be there in a few hours. They'll be able to drive
Yeah,
on.
as soon as it cools off, they'll let them on it.
Mhm.
And we would just ask that they not make any sharp turns cause then it kinda rough it up, but
Okay.
yeah, they should be able to same day get on there. I think it's still gonna be a couple weeks before they get to that, cause they'll have to pour the curbs. That might be a little coordination. They'll probably pour that in segments so that they can get to it, but they'll make sure that they put stone in that they can get up and out of the drives. Yeah, so, and then they're working on the sodding over here on West Street. I don't know if you guys noticed that,
What?
or at least that's what they were saying.
Haven't done anything.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Working on what?
The sodding and seating restoration over here.
Nothing.
No, nothing's been done.
They gotta pour concrete in the corner of Second and West Street, that needs to be done.
Yeah, well,
Because we had a couple walking, they can barely walk. Then they had to go back out on the street and go down and around, and that's unacceptable.
yeah.
That,
Too long.
all that concrete should have been poured at one time. I don't care, they can't give me an excuse with nothing, because I've been in construction for 60 years, and it's been sitting there, you know. And we need to get on the phone tomorrow and call them. Tell them it's gotta be done, and get the sod down, because we need that seeded for the fair. We can't have mud walking.
What about the shut-offs on West Street as well, water shut-offs?
Yeah, they got 3 of them. I was gonna call Todd and let him
They're
know.
broken, bent,
There's 3 of them.
folded over.
When they put the filter back in, the guys just drove right over the top of the 3 curb boxes.
But we gotta push that area.
Yeah. It would make the whole thing look a lot better down there. People would feel better about it. 'Cause it's done.
One project.
We're starting to get phone calls now. I don't like them.
No.
Phone calls?
Every day.
So we'll get them going on that one.
Okay, good. Push it hard. Okay.
And then they were planning on, cause I assume they were planning on finishing that up later this week or early next week, and then they said they were gonna move over here to First Street and get started middle of next week, like Wednesday or Thursday. With ripping up pavement and stuff that way, just from Maine to Illinois, or Indiana, sorry. So, I guess that kind of brings us to our next item there, the First Street project.
Don't do nothing until after June the 14th. We got a tractor show right here.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that in the notes from, you were talking to Casey's about the tractor show. And I was kind of
Yeah,
curious
after the
about that.
14th, and then.
Okay.
Make West Street look good. I know they won't wanna lay asphalt yet, but they could sure finish up between the curbs and the sidewalk. That would
Yeah.
help 100%. Okay.
And then I think we were still in the coordinated meeting with First Merchants.
Okay,
Did you have contact for that?
I do. If you, a good contact number is 260-469-6347. And her name is Chris Clausen. And if she can't answer it, she can direct you to her regional, Jess Hopkins, so.
And then on that, they submitted a payout late March to sort of cover the cost of the potholing that they did, make sure that the gas line was out of the way. And that was for $19,475. So I guess I'd ask for a motion to approve that if you guys are in favor of it.
Have we seen that yet?
So it's just the two items that they kind of break those costs up into is the mobilization and then the clearing, or I think it's clearing right away.
I make a motion to go ahead and pay the invoice.
Second.
And roll call vote, gentlemen. Jeff?
Aye.
Claude?
Yes.
Wilmer?
Yep.
Motion carried.
How many signs we need?
2. One for him, one for me.
I'll take the other one.
And what else you got for us?
Annexations and planning, we didn't have anything. Plan reviews. Casey didn't say anything about the revived brands. Did you have anything, Zach, about revived brands? Okay.
I'm not.
Okay. And then the other thing, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that we were aware of those dates that you had mentioned before, the tractor show and the townwide sale.
Yep.
And I was definitely wanted to make a note of that so I could ask if there's any impact there. So that's all we had.
Has the revived, where are we at on that? Has it been drawn? Are we just waiting on verbiage? Or what stage is that
I
in?
had sent those updated drawings, I think, Thursday after the meeting to, I want to say it was to Casey, but I know I sent it to Zach, for that 10-foot easement.
Yeah, I think I think we were all on it. I'm just waiting on the new map from DLZ.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. Anything else you have for us?
Nope, nothing else.
Okay.
I did see you had something on the agenda. Do you want to discuss that now or later?
Let's get Zach and then let that works. Okay. Other than push hard to get that landscaping on West Street. Thank you. Zach, we'll get you on the air.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We have still have not received anything from Leo-Cedarville Regional Sewer District, and so there's no action item here.
Okay.
I mean, this was a request from them, but and we made a request for additional information to understand more, but haven't received anything. So I don't know what the status is or where this is on their priority list. I do have comments to the Attorney General letter that I will send by email to each of you because it would be attorney-client privilege. But I think we had a conversation on whether they were going to send it without our proposed revisions or if they wanted to see them and they were willing to incorporate them. I think the idea was if they wanted to send it, they would just remove the town's name from the letter and send it, and if they were willing to hold tight, they would consider our revisions.
And we've been since communicated with from the town of Leo-Cedarville, that they had other questions, comments, concerns come up, and they're holding off until July 4th to submit the letter. So we've got a little bit of room to wiggle on that. So.
We'll send you our comments. Like I said, it'll just be to you via email and not part of the public record. And they'll be subject to attorney-client privilege. The other item is we have, Jeff, at your request, instead of doing a new lease, we have prepared comments to the fire territory lease agreement for the fire station. Those also are attorney work product that will just be for the town council to review. So we did not attempt to mark it up. You acted like, I think you suggested you just wanted a list of items that you could raise with them. And so that's how we've prepared our comments to that lease. And we'll send that to you. I think you have a meeting towards the end of the month. Is that right?
May 29th, I believe.
Yep. Okay. So we'll send those to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Perfect.
The last item is on the agenda is Ordinance 2025-4, a cross-connection backflow parameters. This is not necessarily for introduction this evening. What I'd like you guys to all review it, but more importantly, I'd like Erik and Ryan to look at that to make sure that they're the ones that propose that this may be needed. So we prepared this in accordance with the 2025 standards of IDEM for cross-connection backflow parameter ordinances. And I don't know, perhaps by separate email I can send it to Erik and Ryan for their review. I'll defer to Erik and Ryan how they want to do that. But we'd prefer that they look at that before it's introduced and suggest any changes they may have. I don't have any context other than a form was sent to us and said the town may need to execute this. So this is, again, not for any action item tonight, but to know that we've prepared this, but we need the specialist to kind of review it and see if it matches what they are thinking is needed here.
All right. I'll review it, look at it. And, yeah, we'll definitely need it. We did get dinged for not having a proper one. So
Okay.
Are we having any cross connection backflow issues?
No. It's kind of. We just had an inspection last week, and they're kind of heavy with the cross connections, and they just kind of, Grabill really didn't have one, which I was kind of surprised a little bit, I guess. We don't have any issues with it, but this gives us some teeth to make sure everybody who's supposed to be doing it is doing it, and they gotta be.
Yep. No, it certainly does. It gives you.
Yeah.
Yep. This ordinance, if you look at it, provides the town inspection rights, which the statute permits. So. I guess I just asked you to take a quick review of it. If it's acceptable, then we would have it on the next meeting for introduction and then adoption at the meeting after that.
Yeah. Stephanie gave me a copy. Will you email me a copy too? That way I can put it in my file on the computer.
Yep, sure will.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all I have, Claude.
Okay. Thanks, Zach. Ryan, what do you have for us?
I have a few things here. I'll try to make them as quick and painless as possible. We did have an IDEM inspection last week. We did have some minor deficiencies. Most of them were related to. They should have sent you an email too. I will forward it if not. This letter they sent us, because we'll have to make comments back to them. They had my wrong email also, so that's why I didn't get the lead and copper email either. So there's a couple of minor ones here. Most of them are to deal with our cross connection we didn't have, and they kind of want us to make sure we're tracking them on a spreadsheet. So every year we make sure everybody's doing what they're doing. So it kind of gives, that's why we need the cross connection ordinance. Kind of gives us a little teeth there. And we also got dinged for being on our water loss audits. We are over 25% loss on water. Now that's a 2023 report, because 2024 is not due till August. It just wasn't finalized yet. They did recommend that Stephanie and Erik make sure they get their numbers together every month and see what the differences is and how bad, hopefully those numbers start to come closer to each other. I think a lot of it is probably just meters that are being, I know we have some meters that kind of go crazy sometimes. I think that's what a lot of it is now, because the production is down to half of what we were in 2023. Just so we're doing almost 400,000 gallons. We do very over 200,000 gallons now. So, but the last numbers they pulled, we were still over 25% difference. So, so there's a couple of little minor things in here for that will get cleaned up. They're more of not having the well records that were abandoned, not having the tower records that were finalized. Most of that's what it was. We don't. And something to do with the fill hydrant at the water tower does not have a backflow prevention check valve on it. So maybe with some of that extra money, we might wanna get one of those stuck in there. So that was another one. I'll send this to you so you got it, but,
Okay.
so they're very minor stuff. We'll have cleaned up here pretty quick. They're gonna get me the other paperwork that we used to have it here. It was still being waited on, so they did send a file for the water tower inspections and stuff, but it was on a paradox window, and I was able to pull it up. It was just hard for him to be able to look at it. So he's wanted something hard. So
How does a water main break factor into the difference in water usage?
I would love to be able to tell you we're allowed to guesstimate that number, but we're not allowed to guesstimate that in audit. So, yeah, even though we kind of can tell what we use, there's no guaranteed way of telling that. So, but you know, we do have water main breaks. Some of them don't surface for a while before we see. These guys notice the numbers start to creep up or change, so we know something's going on, and then something happens. So yeah.
Total voucher system. You know, finger system.
Huh?
You know, water checker system that you got going on over Woodburn that.
Oh, they've seen all that already.
Okay.
Yeah, they've seen that little sonar thing I got going on over there that detects them when they're coming at. So that was that, and then I do an update with the lead and copper, which apparently they're sending to the wrong emails too. But they did give me that today too. We have 30 days to, we've already done the 24-hour notice to everybody, but we have 30 days for the education thing. That's gotta go back out to everybody. And then we do have, which I'll probably get the letter that you guys, Casey and you guys sent last time on our corrosion control from Fort Wayne. Probably just get that copy and we can kind of redo that again. They've already basically said the same thing. We know you're doing it, it's just gonna take time. The good news is with all that, we'll get this taken care of, and then, before I forget, quarterly, we have to post on the water bills a little educational thing on the lead and copper. They got exactly what's supposed to be said, but I'll get that to Stephanie. So, but now we're gonna do that quarterly. It's a new rule come into effect. Because October 2025, our limit goes to 10 instead of 15, so it drops down. And it gets a lot tougher. We gotta start testing daycares. All the daycares that are certified here have to be tested. If they want, they can deny it. So there's a lot more coming down the chain for lead and copper. So I've been doing a lot of classes trying to stay up to date, but it gets kind of tough. So. But the good news is everybody that's asked for a test, we've probably had, I don't know, maybe 10 of them roughly. I kind of try to steer them if they're in areas that there's really no new additions. There's no really worry. They're all plastic. It's not a big deal. But a couple of them have been where we've had high hits. The neighbors are right around there. They've all tested low. So it's that one house that we're testing that came back high. The other 3 around them are good. So, yeah. So it's been kind of weird. So,
yeah.
What it is they got these old faucets, they don't clean up their sink screens. We went into a lady's house, her sink screen was turned upside down, sideways in her faucet. So it's running around the outside of it, picking up all that metal, so was one of them.
yeah, I don't think it's anything on the town side. That's really the problem. It is inside the homes where the problem's coming from. So, but it's just something we have to work through. It's gonna be several years before it gets worked through. We kind of knew that was coming. So,
Just stay ahead of it.
yeah, I think that's on my end. I think that's all I have. I don't know what else Eric has back there. But I figured I better can get updates of all the stuff going on. You get my email, Claude? Have you been getting my emails?
I have some. Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure. Okay. So yeah, I'll make sure I get these to you.
Yeah.
Because I know I didn't see your name tagged in there, which usually you would be. And
Yeah.
They were having issues sending it to places, so I'm assuming I'll get that sent over to you. So.
Okay.
Do we have anything scheduled or pre-scheduling even for the asphalt repair for where the leak was on Indiana?
It's already in schedule.
Okay.
He's in another town for another week and a half, and then he said he's gonna try and fit it, get over here as soon as he can. Yep, right done. The only thing I had was a AC replacement for the town hall museum. MERS quoted 66, Keith quoted 57. And that's the AC unit outside that needs to be replaced, because it's leaking Freon. The Freon that it uses, they discontinue it after this year, can't get it at all. So it's $600 every year to fill it, because it leaks. it's time to upgrade to the newer Freon,
Mhm.
so,
We got a couple other quotes we wanna get you.
okay, perfect.
Does Keith have a written quote?
No, he just called me and told me,
Okay.
but I haven't sent me one.
Haven't said you
He just called me today, so,
Okay.
he just did it, I think Tuesday, he looked at it Tuesday, so.
Okay. Very good.
Zach, what is the statute on the dollar limit to where we need to require bids to come in for certain jobs like that?
Yeah, I can provide it's like a tiered structure depending, and there's a state board of I don't know if it's state board of accounts. One of the state agencies provides a really good kind of 4-page summary that's non-statutory that kind of breaks down where those thresholds are. I can email you that.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
This is for services, not goods, right?
No.
I didn't hear that.
It's for an AC unit replacement and or
AC.
furnace replacement over
Not
at-
just servicing it.
Yeah.
correct.
Right.
Purchasing the
Goods.
unit. Okay.
Goods and services, I guess, that would be.
Yeah, if there's one on services, that's probably be good to have also.
Mhm.
Well, the furnace is good, so make sure you guys don't get the furnace bid on it, because that's about $4,000 extra.
Okay, thanks, Zach. When can you sweep the streets in Grabill?
I can probably get them, well, this week's tied up, I can get them any other time after that. Which ones you want, because it's gonna be tough to do Main Street right now. Or
Tough to
State
do
Street,
lots of
I meant State Street.
State Street would be tough
Yeah,
to, tough
Straight
to do,
Street would be
and
tough.
that really needs it too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, some of those you can't.
But yeah, somebody
I
like,
say any of them that you can legitimately get, I
Okay.
think it would be great to
Yeah.
get to, because they're looking kind of trashy.
yeah, I can try to get over here within the next couple of weeks, park it, and I'll get it on the weekend and
Okay.
knock them out, so.
Thank you.
And we might have to do them a couple of times, more than we normally do, but we got construction, we gotta keep her looking good, so.
Yeah, cause a lot of these construction holes that,
Yeah,
sometimes it'll make a bigger mess, cause,
right.
you know, it then bounces and knocks a little dust back off it, so.
Right.
But yeah, I can sure Main Street and some of the other ones will be
Okay.
just fine, so.
Is that patch on State in front of, just past
Illinois.
Lori Nash's? Is that one gonna get,
That's gas. That one's gas, that's not us.
Mhm.
We're the other side with the barrels, that's gas. It's
I know, but are we, I mean,
That's-
I would assume that we're the ones that are gonna have to come back over that, or?
No,
No, they do.
they take care of their own stuff.
I would, like, it's probably gonna be fixed like the one out here in front of the church though. Which is still kind of bumpy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you talking about?
Right, straight across from Illinois. It's maybe just to
Oh,
the,
yeah.
Curb
just
cut
to the
out
curb a
on the
little bit,
street.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that one
They-
gets resurfaced.
And who did the curb?
Let's go.
Well, they probably should come back and redo it being it goes like this.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Okay.
ask you, who signs off on that being acceptable? If it's within your incorporated limits?
I would assume if you guys complain about it, they need to put it back to the way it was. Right now, the curb kind of dips down like that where they fixed it at, so. It's not a very good job, and their patch on the road wasn't a very good job either.
Well, it's like continued to sink in and sink in and sink in
Yeah.
too, so.
It's kind of why they let them sit so long, so they can sink in.
Real quick, guys.
Yes.
Real quick. So I just kind of looked this up so I could give you kind of at least a high level summary. So exceptions to the competitive bidding requirements. So when you don't have to comply with the competitive bidding requirements, it purchases less than 50,000. You just have to follow whatever normal procedure you do, and then purchases between 50,000 and 150,000. It's recommended that you invite or seek 3 quotes from businesses, but you still don't have to go through the formal bidding process. So the threshold there for goods and not services is 150,000.
Yeah, I was thinking that was about what it was.
Okay, thank you.
But even 50 under, like, we always.
We always did.
Mhm.
Okay. That it, Brian?
That is it for me, unless you guys have anything for me.
Okay. We got the parking along Illinois Street solved.
Yeah.
Credit card purchases.
And then, before you leave us, Zach, real quick, we don't have a purchasing policy in place for, the best way to, I guess, phrase it is for like contractor credit card usage as well as credit, account usage. So like, we rack up a bill at Menards and they send me a monthly statement. I don't have anything in writing saying that contractors or
Council.
anybody besides the four of us can make town purchases.
Yeah, there's a list of names.
Yeah, but she doesn't have.
There's a list of names at Menards, but there's no actual ordinance or purchasing policy in place stating that members of the park department can't go to Menards and buy a bag of mulch, or our hired maintenance or contracted maintenance can't purchase anything, because they're card carriers with the town's like gas card, but we don't have anything written in place saying that they are authorized to charge on our town accounts as well as use our town credit cards.
Okay. We could look into the appropriate way to document that.
Okay.
Yeah. This contract expenditures with Ellis.
I'm still, I had spoke with Ellis 2 weeks ago, and asked for a copy of, or to draft up a contract between him and the town of Grabill, as well as obtain his COI and W-9 for 2025. And I have yet to receive those, but I just wanted to keep you guys in the loop on that I'm still waiting for that. So if, and I know he just did some mulching around here at Town Hall, when that invoice comes through, that I'll be kind of pushing for all three of those before issuing payment.
And those would seem to be more ordinance, or not ordinances, but contract related.
Where in the past they were written as an ordinance. I don't know why it was done that way, but I think it'll just be a little more streamlined if we just have contracts written with our vendors like that instead of.
Okay. And you have, what else do you have? Bills to pay?
Bills to pay.
You get a chance to look through before.
You're busy with everything else.
The pump go out for the gator tank or something?
The pump went out on the gator tank, correct?
Actually, the switch went out, but I got an extra pump in case the pump goes out. So we got one sitting on the shelf because the last one was wonky. Had to hit it and smack it, so I throw one on the shelf in case it decides to conk out on us this summer. We got a backup.
Is that a maintainable thing, or is it
It's
just?
sealed. Once they conk out, they pretty much conk out. It's a sealed pump.
So what filter goes out at Town Hall for MERS to replace that's $400?
Furnace filter.
Just $400.
That's $400.
Mhm. It's an expensive filter over here.
What kind of filter?
I would love to see an
Is that-
invoice
is
for
that-
that.
Is that for
I mean,
them
even from
changing
them,
it?
you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Well, no,
Is that for them servicing everything?
yes, it's servicing everything because yes, it's a spring and fall service.
So it's spring and fall.
Yes. You pay in the spring and they get the fall for free, or something like that.
So that's the regular,
They do
That
have
makes more
to.
sense.
the yearly maintenance.
Yeah, the maintenance of your furnace.
Okay.
That makes
Oh,
more
okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, one filter.
So that was encompassed with the other one, for the,
Yeah, the
South
filter's
Park, so-
$45.
Yeah, so that makes way more sense.
Yeah, than what I'm seeing right here saying 403 for filter.
yeah, that was including the maintenance.
The maintenance fee for the
over
program.
at the South Park as well as Town
All
Park.
right. I can pay that.
Yeah.
He goes, hold on.
I want to see that. I want to see that filter too.
Yeah.
Is it gold? That's gold.
Yeah.
That's an expensive filter. It's made out of gold.
Handmade.
I did have one other thing too, guys. The drives are in Page Road. They are running, but the old drives burn up the meter, so I had to order a new meter and a probe. So I sent you guys an email about that. I didn't know if you've seen it or not, so it's already ordered, it's gonna be here, it's 4 to 5 weeks out. So once this comes in, you'll have brand new drives, brand new meter, brand new probe, and then we just gotta rehab the inside of the station and everything's brand new. So, we didn't have a choice. The IT department said that there's an alarm inside the meter that just popped some fuse in there that they can't replace. It's been in there for almost, what, 11 years now, 12 years?
It's quite an old meter now.
They were shocked to last this long, but they recommended it all needs to be replaced, so I went ahead and got that done.
So I'm looking for an approval of the AP vouchers for May 21st council meeting for $255,786.59. And payroll vouchers for May 23rd, 2025 for $6,141.12.
Well, I would make a motion that we go ahead and pay those pay vouchers, the May 21st one, for the regular vouchers and also the May 23rd voucher for the gross payroll.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, Jeff,
Aye.
Claude,
Aye.
Wilmer,
Aye.
motion carried.
Floor's open. Is there any questions, concerns, or anyone that's?
Oh. She got a notice that, on the airbag on your truck, needs to go in and get it inspected. Let's get that in, cause it's second couple, been a couple of them now, so. And, so we gotta do that. I just got one for my truck,
What am I gonna drive
10
around?
years.
If I take it in, what am I gonna drive around?
Just plan for them and
You
take
just
it.
gotta work around that, that's whatever it is. Sit and wait on it.
Just call them, let's get an appointment first thing in the morning, and take it in.
Cause you can't let that kind of stuff go. Well, it's haywire, and then we have to pay for it, and that ain't gonna happen.
It's a nuisance, we get more time.
I may have a question.
Yeah.
So this water thing, I'm the recipient of the letter, the letter.
Everybody got it.
Everybody.
I know, everybody did.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah,
We just need to do.
So you said you're inspecting them. Are you doing that at no cost? Or how does this work?
Which inspections are you referring to? Because we do a,
You said you were going in and inspecting houses and
Correct.
taxing.
yeah, we had some high hits, so we've gone into those homes and inspected to make sure that there's no lead inside those homes. And I've taken pictures of what plastic and where we're taking the samples at. Just confirm that everything's being done proper and there is actually no lead inside the house. Those high hits are just everything pre-1974. That's where we had basically, we had to find 20 locations with pre-1974, which is pretty easy
You gotta
here.
sign these down there.
but we had to be able to,
I just like printing
most
two
likely they
copies in
have lead
case
solder around their copper pipes, and that's
Jeff
what caused the
decides he's gonna
problem.
do Wilmer
So
that
until the
night.
water, they use orthophosphates in the water for windows, just
That goes to the boss man.
basically put a coating on those pipes to stop it from happening. Just
Give it
there's not
back
enough
this
of
time.
water going through there, it's causing a problem. So, but if you want me to come in your house, you know, you should live in town, you should live in town or not, but, yeah, whenever they ask me, I go in and just go in and inspect.
And is there a charge for that?
No, no.
I think I'd like to have that done. We have a rent on Second
On
Street.
Second Street though?
Yeah, and before I rent it, because I was thinking, you know, as I rent that, what am I gonna show people, you know? Oh yeah, by the way, you might have.
Yeah.
How long,
And I'd feel better if I
how long's the
could,
house been sitting empty?
oh, too long.
Well, he wants to inspect the pipe though. You want me to do, you want to test too, but,
How long, what do you do?
well, I just inspect the internal side of the house, make sure what the plumbing is, fixtures are,
Okay.
if they're dated or, you know, how old they are, and all I can tell you is recommended change, I can't force you to change anything. As it comes to the outside of the town's area, we've already inspected all those, like, that street has new water main and plastic service lines, and we hooked up the plastic, we know we hooked up the copper goes in the house then, so we know as in the town wise, our, as I say, is the town side, all of it is fine. It's, most of it fine, it's been the home side it's having the issue. Just cause it's new, the water is way more aggressive, so it's just causing an issue. It'll probably be 2 or 3 years and it'll all kind of work its way through the system and we won't have a problem probably anymore. But since we switched water sources, it becomes an issue.
The reason I'm saying that is, I had a gentleman give me a sample that had been sitting in an empty house and was brown.
Oh,
So, if the house is empty, you're going to run all fresh water through the system.
Yeah.
Let it sit 6 hours, then take your sample.
Yeah, if you want a sample taken out there, we can't say no. So.
I think I'd like to do that.
Okay, let us know. We need to get in there. We need to get in there and run the water.
Yeah.
Flush the
I can
system
run
out,
the
and let
water-
it sit for overnight, and come in first thing morning.
How long do we need to run it first?
Well, if no one's living there, you might want to make sure all the water is cleaned out of those lines.
Right.
Turn every.
Yeah, what's that, an hour or? is that-
Turn every faucet on, maybe let it run 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10, 15
Oh, 10,
minutes.
okay.
Yeah, turn everything on
Just
there.
get, some, get fresh water into the house, not anything that's been sitting in the
Okay,
pipes too
all
long.
right, so how do I do that?
You want to send
sample bottles and
no.
everything.
If you want to get hold of Eric, if you want to set an inspection up or whatever, I can come in and inspect the house too. It's not a big deal.
Okay, yeah, I think I'd like to, just peace of mind for tenants.
No, I've been doing it all over, so it's not a.
Okay,
Yeah, whenever someone asks for a bottle or test, we go. Yeah.
The park.
The creek get cleaned up, okay.
great.
That's not on our
Yep.
side. I mean, it is on our side, but the fence is new. So it got on Ben's land back there by Maple Lane Metals. All that drywall that was dumped,
Hmm.
that's what Nick's wondering about.
I talked to him today.
So our property line is the creek,
It's
is
Paul
that?
Paul Smucker property, it's not, Maple Lane's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went out and talked to him today and told him it's gotta be cleaned up. I said, you can't throw drywall in the water. The water goes down that creek to the river, in the Fort Wayne, and then we bring it out here and we drink it. And I said, we can't have that kind of stuff. And she says, I'll tell him. I said, you get a mini in there and clean it up and throw it on the other side of the fence and bury it or haul it away.
So hypothetically, if a citizen were to relocate the drywall,
They have to clean it up. It's gotta be moved. Can't be on the ditch.
so does the city, is the middle of the creek the property line or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause we all get assessed to help clean that stuff up, you know, and we don't want that, you know, and I told him, and they was very nice about it. She said, he did it just to fill in a washout, and I said, well, you can't use that for a washout, and it is. It was washing a little bit, but it just got thrown there, you know, to get rid of too.
It looked like a whole room's worth of ceiling, man. I can
Oh,
see
there's
it.
a lot there, and I told him, I said, you know, you got asbestos in the drywall. When it's that old, that's asbestos.
Yep.
And the color and the paint that was on some of them drywalls probably got lead in it. So I said, we can't have that. And I said, Board of Health gets a hold of that, you'll clean up the ditch from here to Fort Wayne, you know. Won't tell him. And the young daughter stood there and says, yeah, he's right. He's right. I thought, man, that was neat.
I appreciate y'all taking care of it.
And the daughter, probably about 13 or 14, you know, and she, yeah, that's right, that kind of stuff will make you sick.
She's learning about it, I guess.
Yeah. But anyways, I said, I got pictures of it, and I said, you know, I can show it to you. He said, no, we know what it looks like, we did it. Yeah. So, I went to Ben and them guys first, I thought it was theirs. He says, well, he said, we walked back there, we seen that. Call Ben Smucker, or I mean Paul. So, he's right next door, you know.
There's
You got anything?
No.
Is there,
drywall
is there a
and-
concern on that Fairview Drive
I'm sorry?
resident, the Nortons?
Yes.
We are addressing that.
Oh, okay.
But the sidewalk,
It's gonna stop.
We thought we had it addressed after our last meeting. There will not be a sidewalk going down
To the dead end.
the dead end.
it's gonna
It'll
stop
the
at
sidewalk will
Fairview.
stop at
Yeah.
the walkway there. And we thought we had it addressed, but apparently it didn't get to the people from Brooks Construction, because that's who gave her the information. So I will call her tomorrow and tell her that it will not go down through there. Doesn't make sense.
One more thing too, guys were supposed to get me pricing for hydro seed versus straw and seed.
Oh, yeah. So, it's like 3 times more to do, or you said hydro seed?
I usually,
The hydro seed, the water and seed on the stuff they spray it on.
Mm-hmm. That's what they do when, typically if we call for seeding. So it's like
Have we ever seen
$2.50.
I thought it's always been that.
Usually they throw down straw
With the
half
straw
the time.
over top of it, so it doesn't blow away.
But that's the green stuff that they spray.
no, they don't put any straw on that.
No.
Right.
No, but
I
what's been placed in the past has always had that straw covering over it. It's not been the,
With the mesh that winds up
Mm-hmm.
blowing all over.
With pins in them.
Can we find out for sure what that's spec for? And what was allowed for seeding versus how much that cost to do whatever one they're wanting to do? Because if there's an allowance for $10,000 for seeding, I want to know how much each one of those seedings actually cost. Because I know he said they're gonna, if we give them an allowance, they're gonna use the cheapest one. But I want to know how much that cheapest one actually was. Are they not using the full allowance, or are they just putting something cheap in to get by, or? I'd like to know the lineal square foot or the lineal pricing on that versus what the allowance is. And still the pricing on hydro seed versus standard seed. And is there any sod at all going on any of these projects that are in town, or is it all just seeding?
Yeah, there's supposed to be sod in West Street in Illinois. And then I mentioned to him that depending on when the schedule irons out, we'll need a sod up here for the fair.
Okay.
So it's not my pit, so they're definitely aware of that.
So theoretically, we're not worried about the seeding, regular seeding on any of this then?
It's gonna be sodded, and then the homeowner will have to keep it watered to keep it looking good.
Well, no, they give it,
Who?
they water.
Yeah, there should be water in it.
Okay.
For X amount of time.
So much water they did ours.
Okay. But we
Whitmer was sod.
we'd sure look good if it were done. From
We're just getting started, guys.
what?
And do you know
Just
how
gets
they're gonna
started.
deal with the grading on some of that in West Street where the sidewalk is about 6-7 inches below the grass line that's already there? In front of like Timmy's and stuff, that area there, that sidewalk's probably 6 inches below where the yard where that sidewalks is, that much lower than where the grass stops right now. It's a huge offset. I mean a huge offset. That sidewalk's way lower than the grass line. All along that. It's really bad. If they were gonna make that even a slight slope, they're gonna have to go back 4 to 6 feet minimum up into people's yards. We can't have them just drop that off really sharp, they won't be able to mow it or anything.
It'll wash into the sidewalk.
Big time, there will be nowhere for the water to go.
Yeah. So your landscapers have some work to do down through there.
I do have one more thing.
Yes.
Sorry. They did a flow test on Sawmill down at the very far end by, what's the name of that company down there?
Country homes.
Our Country Homes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very good. We went from 52 PSI down to 24 PSI at 900 gallons a minute. These guys had to double check to make sure all valves are open. The last flow test out there was nowhere near that. We went from like 54 to, we stayed in the 40s.
49.
And same flow. The only thing that's different is we're hooked up Fort Wayne versus having a plant. But right now, everything appears to be open like it's supposed to, but just so you're aware, the flow down there for fire protection fell way off. And I don't know.
Instead of being at the beginning, system's all with you in now.
Yeah, it's the farthest. It's way out there now. So I don't know. Just so you guys are aware, and it may become an issue with his fire protection down there, especially inside his current building. The way it dropped off, I don't think it'll meet its current requirements.
Well, evidently, then the water pressure of the tanks are not full enough.
They were at 126, I think,
Yeah.
when they were full. They're not all the way full, but they were up. Which I'm 100% agree because I couldn't figure out what was going on either because everything was open. I would happen to be there the day they were doing it, so it was very weird. Just so you're aware, we are continuing trying to see if there's
Been checking valves.
valves to make sure they are all open because that's what it indicated to me. But right now, everything was there forced when the plant was running. Right now, it's just the tower being used. So, but just so you're aware, just so you guys are aware, there was an issue down there. It's probably going to come up because they're going to retest today or tomorrow. So I'm assuming today.
Yeah.
So it may have jumped the gun, but they're going to retest and make sure everything was proper. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Might need to loop down Roth and Iger to get that a full loop around there, get the pressure up, unfortunately.
Especially if they decide to put another 25,000 square foot building next to the one that's already there.
Well, I think that's going to be his problem. He may not, that fire protection may not allow him to put that building up. So.
Well, elsewise around that loop, is the same.
There is no loop, it's a dead end.
It's it dead ends down Sawmill.
But if we loop it out
Roth and Iger.
onto Roth and then come back Iker, that should give us that boost.
It should theoretically bring you guys back up.
Yeah, that's in the plan, isn't it, to put that loop in?
It's always been in the plans. Being, I don't know how soon how soon that happens, but I mean, it's always that's the obvious plan. Go all the way down and connect behind Souders down there.
Yeah.
One big loop that you're not all those dead ends anymore. But yeah, so but it's a thing. It may become a bigger issue now versus down the road. Just so we're all aware that is taking place. So.
Right. Yeah.
But right now, so they are going through valves and making sure everything is open where they we do Main Street. And now it's only one line versus two line feeding that 10-inch underneath the road. So underneath the railroad tracks, I guess. Just so you guys are aware. Sorry, I should have brought that up earlier. I just kind of forgot about it.
Okay.
Anything else? If not, meeting's adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Kevin.